Right, Shalom, this is Brother Shamar. First off and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the brothers that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. And we're going to jump right into the lesson. This is Lamentations 5:1. It says, "Remember, O Yahweh, what has come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach." So that word reproach, just go ahead and get that. It's a reproach, resting, condition of shame, disgrace. And we are in a condition of shame and disgrace, meaning that we are on a low level because we are under the curses, and we are also in captivity. So we are in a state of shame. The so-called Black, Latino, Native American, he's in a state of shame, and this shame is seen shame is seen and put on display worldwide. That's why you have shows like Cops, which basically show us as criminals and thieves and drug addicts and all manner of shady people, man. And you got shows like Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, which display the wickedness and the ignorance of the so-called Black, Latino, Native American, and that's by design. That's by design. That's by the Lord, putting us in a condition of shame and of lowliness. It says, "Remember, O Yahweh, what has come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach." So we are in a condition of shame. The whole world laughs at you so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Let's get Psalms 22:7. Salat. This is Psalms 22:7. It says, "All they that..." Well, I'll start at verse 6. Psalms 22:6 says, "But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men." And we went to that word reproach, and means shame, despise of the people. So these other nations and these heathens, they got nothing to say, nothing good to say about you so-called Black, Latinos, and Native Americans. We are buffoons and entertainment unto them. They don't look at us as equals. Even the Constitution of the United States, it speaks about the so-called black man being not 1/5 of a man or something to that effect. Basically not as equal as a so-called white man. And they also, in that same declaration or constitution, I forgot which one it was, I think it's a Declaration of Independence, or it could be the Constitution, I'm not sure. But in one of those documents, it speaks about how the so-called black man is not fully a human or a man. He's partial man, meaning he's not equal to the so-called white man. And also in that same document, it speaks about the Northern Kingdom, which are what you call the Native Americans. It labels them as savages. So this just shows you right here that we are a despised people in the eyes of these other nations. I'm gonna run that back again. "But I am a worm and no man." Why? Because we have no power. The brother in the camp always says, brings out this scripture, signifying a worm has no defense mechanism. So basically, we have no power. We have no power upon planet Earth because we always go back into Job 9:24. That power was given to the hand of the wicked, the control of the earth, the control of decisions and situations. Jake has very little to none power over anything. The only power that Jake has is spiritual power. And those are only for the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Lord that are called to do this work. That's the only power that we have. You got these groups these Israelite groups that, and these other so-called militant groups that they encourage stacking of weapons and shooting and all this other stuff, but that's not our power. That blessing of the sword or weaponry was given to the devil, Esau, Edom. It says, "All they that see me laugh me to scorn, they shoot out the lip, they shake the head." So they are the scriptures call Satan the accuser of our brethren. Let's go ahead and get that, accuser of our brethren. And you got to understand that we are in our captivity. This is Revelation 12:10. "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now has come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And that's speaking about the so-called white man. So he is the accuser of our brethren. He is the one that points a finger at Jake and displays our wickedness, displays our shame. And that goes back to the story of Job. The spiritual demon Satan, he played the role of the accuser of our brethren. He was accusing to the Most High about Job's lack of integrity, which he had none, because he was tested in that matter, and he maintained his integrity. But the point of it is that the point of the lesson is that we are in a lower state, and that's why we are not in an exalted position as we should be. We're supposed to be rulers of the earth. Eventually we will be. But because of our disobedience and our stiff-neckedness, being stiff-necked, rebellious to the Most High, we are in a condition of reproach and shame. Let's go back to Lamentations 51:7. You know what? Let's go back to Psalms 22:7. It's a lot. So this is Psalms 22:7. And it says, let's see here. It says, but I am a worm and no man, and reproaching men despise the people. All they that see me laugh me to scorn. They shoot out the lip, they shake the head. Saying he trusts in the Lord, and he will deliver him. Them deliver him, seeing he delighted in him. So that's why the scripture describes the so-called white man in Revelation as the accuser of our brethren, because he accuses us to the Most High. He puts our reproach for the world to see. Let's go back to Lamentations, the 5th chapter. See here, Lamentations. It says, remember, O Yahweh has come upon us. Consider and behold, reproach our inheritance and turn to strangers, our houses to aliens. That's speaking of the land of Israel. Where that's rightfully our land, by the promises of the Most High. But that land, that inheritance, is run by the Ish people, and also Ish people, the Arabs, which I believe are Ishmael. It says, we are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We are drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. And we can attest. This is the place where they wear out the saints. This is the place where you're living paycheck, and you're in a constant. You're in constant, constantly paying shit, man. You're constantly behind on a bill, or you're basically living check to check, man. We have no substance or increase here. It says, our necks are under persecution. We labor, have no rest. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and Syrians to be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned, and we are not, and we are born, and we have borne their iniquities, because we are our forefathers reincarnated. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that does deliver us out of their hand. And the servants are basically the so-called white man, because he was destined to be the servant of Jacob. You can read about that in I think it's Genesis 25th chapter. It says, we get our bread with the pearl of our lives, because it swore in the wilderness. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. They ravished the women in Zion, the maids in the cities of Judah, and they did that in the times of slavery as well. To both the northern and southern kingdom. Princes are hanged up by the hand. The faces of elders were not honored. They took the young men to grind. The children fell on the wood. And all this was done by the so-called white man to the so-called black, Latinos, and Native Americans. So we are under in a condition of reproach and shame. Let's get Joshua 23:16. This is Joshua 23:16. And it says, this is why we're in the condition of shame and reproach. It says, but when ye have transgressed, come the Lord your power, which he commanded you, and have gone and served other gods, and bow yourselves to them, then shall the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and ye shall perish quickly from out the good land which is given unto you. So, that was one of the reasons why, we are put in this low condition as we are today. Let's get Exodus 11:14, I believe. So this is the place of our captivity. America is the prison camp of the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American. We get no rest here, man. 11:14. No, so this is Exodus 11:14. Salak. This is Exodus 11. Hold up. This is speaking of the captivity of Israel under the Egyptians, and we are in the spiritual Egypt, still in that same captivity. It says Exodus 1:11. Therefore, that they set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. That's our jobs that don't allow us to really support or maintain any type of life or wealth here. Therefore, they set over them taskmasters, afflicting with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. And also that applies to this day and age. This country was built by the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American. It was built on the land stolen by the Native Americans, by the slavery of the so-called Negro, and by the work of the so-called Mexican, man. The Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Not necessarily in that order, but to that extent. We built America, is what I'm trying to say. The Israelites have built America. They built the great cities of America under slavery. Exodus 1:12. But more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And that applies also to Jake today. Jake, so-called Black, Latino, Native Americans, is a fruitful people. They have a lot of babies. Jake is known for having large families. A lot of kids. The more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. The Egyptians made the children of Israel serve as rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondages in mortar and brick and all manner of service in the field. All their serve when they made to serve with rigor. So they did that unto us, man, and they did us in this captivity as well. Because this is not our rest. Micah 2:10, right? We always get that one out. Micah 2:10. It says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. So we shouldn't have the mindset of establishing anything here, or putting down roots, because ultimately we know that it's going to be destroyed. It says it right here, because it is polluted. It is polluted. How? It's polluted by the blood of the so-called Black, Latino, Native Americans. It's polluted the foul land. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. So to establish any type of life here, it's ultimately going to lead to destruction. Salak, man. That's what I wanted. Let's get Tobit 13:6. I don't want that shit. Tobit 13:6. Let's see. 13:5. It says, and he will scourge us for our iniquities. And that's part of a reproach and our shame. That was spoken about Lamentations, the 5th chapter. And will have mercy again, and will gather us out of all nations among whom you have scattered us. So that's the hope that's our hope. That's our rest. It's not here. If you turn to him with your whole heart and your whole mind, and deal uprightly before him, then he will turn unto you, and will not hide his face from you. Therefore see what he will do with you, and confess him with your whole mouth, and praise the Most High of might, and extol the everlasting King. In the land of my captivity do I praise him, and declare his might and majesty to a sinful nation. O ye sinners, turn and do justice before him. Who can tell if he will accept you and have mercy on you? So that's our hope right there, man. Our hope is to turn back into the Lord, to follow the law, statutes, commandments, to deal uprightly, straighten ourselves out. And that's only that spirit to do so is only be given to the men of the Lord, the 144,000 and the 1/3, because the rest of Israel is going to be numbered to the sword, man. But with that being said, just a real quick lesson. Most High Word and Hope was edifying. Was that we give our honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Brothers, keep on pushing. Shalom.